Hey there. I hope I got the right number. Is this Stan's older sister? I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Kendra. I'm Stan's fiance. Oh, hi there, Kendra. I'm glad I finally got the chance to talk to you. Yeah, you've got the right number. My name's Stacy. If I recall correctly, you just dropped by my parents' house with your parents to introduce them, didn't you? I'm really sorry I missed that. I wanted to come and meet you and your family, but my company dropped a last-minute trip out of the state on me that I couldn't get out of. Oh yeah, your parents told me all about that. It was really great news. I get it. You're one of those people who like sarcastic jokes, huh? Sorry, that one went over my head. I wasn't joking. Is that a continuation of the joke, or... No, I'm not joking. I'm really glad you weren't there. It's for the best that we don't meet. So you don't need to feel bad about anything. Okay, this is probably the weirdest first conversation I have ever had with a person in my life. Would you mind explaining why you don't want to meet me? Oh, of course. I'm glad you asked. So I have some super deep-seated trauma with men, right? When I was in high school, I went on my first date ever with a boy, and the very next day, he was sitting with my best friend at lunch. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. It must have been traumatic for you. So he was never serious about you after all? No, he actually was serious. I found out later that he and my best friend were actually cousins. But I only found that out after I had already dumped him and sent him messages around the school saying he was a boring date and a bad kisser. That event was so traumatic for me that I can't bear to see my romantic partners being friendly with any other women, even family members. You spread false rumors about him over a misunderstanding, but you are the one with deep-seated trauma? Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm glad you understand. Right. Well, you know that me and Stan are brother and sister, right? Are you telling me that you don't even want me to have pleasant conversations with him? Stacy, I am so glad that you understand my trauma so well. I heard from your parents that you and Stan are really close. Is that right? Yeah. I presume that's a problem for you? Yep, a big problem. I can't bear to see Stan being friendlier with other women in his family than he is with me. Uh-huh. Again, Stacy, I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate you understanding my trauma. So I actually had a request to make of you. I would really appreciate it if you could never see Stan again. And not just in person. You can't text him either. I wasn't too thrilled with compromising this much with him, but I decided to be the bigger person and allow him 10 texts per month with your mom. So if there's ever something you want to tell Stan, you can tell it to your mom and have her contact Stan for you. Oh, and if her 10 texts are already used up, you'll have to go through me. Granted, depending on the content, I may or may not deliver the message to him. You understand, right? Let me see if I have this straight. You want me to never contact my own brother directly, ever again? Yep, that's right. If I found out you were contacting him, that would really trigger my deep-seated trauma. Right. Look, Kendra, as much as I want to start off our relationship on the right foot, I'm afraid that is not a request that I'll be able to abide by. I understand you have this trauma thing, and I'll do my best to be considerate of you, but restricting which of Stan's family members he can contact? I'm sorry, but that's utterly ridiculous. Stacy! How could you say that to me? I thought you understood my trauma. Are you really going to ignore the deep-seated trauma I have and contact your brother against my wishes? Do you want me to have a panic attack? What if my panic attack causes a heart attack? Are you trying to kill me? What the, kill you? I also have to say that I am very disappointed in the weakness of your sibling relationship with Stan. What? Me wanting the ability to talk to my own brother is a weakness to you? Obviously, if you truly had a strong familial bond, then you wouldn't need to have direct contact with him. Just knowing that he was well taken care of by a fantastic woman who loves him more than anyone else should be enough. But you're disregarding my trauma and threatening my life by meeting with your brother, all because of your own insecurities. You trashed a high school boy's reputation over your misconception, but I'm the one who's insecure? All I'm doing is laying down boundaries. You don't get to determine how and when I contact my own brother just because you're marrying him. Don't victim shame me. I'm the one setting boundaries to cope with my deep-seated trauma. Stop using that term. You use it every 5 frickin' seconds. I will not give you another warning, Stacy. I am his fiancé and I have deep-seated trauma. You will never meet in person with your brother ever again. And if you want to send him a message, then you must either go through me or your mother. That is final. Stan, we need to talk.
We do?
Yes, and it's about your fiancé. Are you sure you want to marry her? Like, really sure?
Well, I did propose to her. I thought that would make my intentions clear. Can I ask what brings this on? Did something happen between you two? You were really happy for me when I first told you I was getting married.
Yeah, I was, but that was before I actually interacted with her. Kendra just texted me a few minutes ago.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, and what she said was shocking, to say the least.
Well, what did she say?
She told me to never speak to you again. She told me this insane story about her deep-seated trauma, but it didn't make any sense. I mean, she expects me to believe that she was traumatized over an incident from high school in which she ruined a boy's reputation for no reason.
Oh, yeah, she told me about that a while back too.
So you knew? Stan, I understand that this is the woman that you proposed to, but I feel like I need to say this is your sister. She seems like she is genuinely unwell.
I'm really sorry that she said that to you. Also, thank you for your concern. It means a lot that you would trust me enough to be so direct like that. Now, in Kendra's defense, based on my experience with her, I don't think she's unwell. I think she just worries too much sometimes.
You sound like you're not too surprised that she would tell me never to speak to you again.
Well, I guess you can say she's done something like this before. Not to blow my own horn, but I've always had a lot of friends, right?
Yeah, ever since you were a kid, you always had a huge circle of friends. You've been bringing them around the house for years now, but I still don't even remember most of their names. Even after you went to college, any free time you weren't studying, you were spending with friends.
Right. That's something that doesn't really sit too well with Kendra.
She doesn't like that you have friends?
It's not that. It's just that she's kind of the opposite type of person. She'd rather just have a few super close people that she knows really well than have a bunch of friends like me. So she can't comprehend my relationship with my friends. You know what I mean? I can't remember how many times she's gotten mad at me for spending a Saturday with my friends instead of her.
Wow, that must have been difficult for you.
Actually, that's the main reason I decided to marry her. Once she's my wife, I'm positive that she'll settle down a bit with the jealousy. I mean, what better way there is to prove my devotion to her than to vow to be there for her for the rest of my life? She won't have a reason to be jealous of my friends or family anymore.
I guess you've put quite a bit of thought into this, Stan. Okay, if that's how strongly you feel about her, then I'll respect your decision. You're right, she'll probably loosen up a little bit after your wedding.
Thanks for understanding, Stacy. So yeah, in the meantime, I wouldn't take anything she says about cutting off contact with me too seriously. I'll have her apologize to you at an appropriate time in the future. Though she shouldn't have said that to you.
Alright, that's fine. You can take your time. I'm in no rush for an apology. You take good care of Kendra then, got it? And try to hold off on making any new friends for a while.
Oh, do I have to? Alright, guess the next time I'll see you will probably be at our wedding, huh? I can't wait for you to meet Kendra in person.
Kendra, what is wrong with you? You came up from behind me and punched me in the back of the head. Oh, you're awake. I'm glad to hear that. How are you feeling? Think I'm feeling? My head frickin' hurts. You punched me so hard that I passed out. They had to call an ambulance to take me to the hospital. Oh my goodness, they took you to the hospital? Yeah, you knocked me unconscious. They want to do a CT scan to make sure I don't have any internal bleeding. But you can cut it with the pleasantries, Kendra. You put me in the hospital. Now explain yourself. I hadn't even been at the wedding for a half hour when suddenly I felt a sharp pain in the back of my head, and the next thing I know, I'm on the floor looking at the ceiling. Why did you do that to me? Don't you remember the last time we spoke? It was my deep-seated trauma. Oh, great, not this again. I walked into the room and saw a woman I'd never met talking to Stan, and all the memories of my pain and misery in high school came rushing back. I was sure that you were actually Stan's mistress and had come to break up the wedding. All the shame and rage and sorrow welled up inside me, and I started seeing red. My body started moving on autopilot. I grabbed the nearest heavy object and bashed you over the head with it. You don't seem like you regret anything at all. You haven't even said you're sorry. But I didn't do anything wrong. It was all a big misunderstanding. I would have never hit you if I knew you were Stan's sister. It was all my trauma's fault. You don't think you did anything wrong? You hit me so hard I lost consciousness. You're not going to evade responsibility for that just because of your supposed trauma. And what the hell? You saw a woman talking to Stan, and the first thing that came to your mind was Stan's having an affair with her? First of all, it is not supposed trauma. It is real trauma. I will not allow you to deny my lived experiences. Second, you knew about my deep-seated trauma, and still you violated the boundaries that I set for you. How could you be so insensitive? I believe that I deserve an apology for your flagrant disregard for my emotional well-being and safety. This is completely insane. Insane? That's ableist language. Screw you. You could have actually killed me just now. What was it that you hit me with anyway? A rock or something? No, just an empty vase. Oh, excuse me, it was just an empty vase. You expect me to apologize for violating your psychotic boundaries, but you don't think you need to apologize for a literal assault? Not a chance. I am the one who deserves an apology here, not you. What? How dare you? I went through the emotional labor of confiding in you about my lived experiences and deep-seated trauma, and you're still victim-shaming me? Are you intentionally fitting as many psychobabble nonsense words into your sentences as grammatically possible? You knew it was traumatic for me to see Stan talking to other women. I clearly laid down my boundaries for you, and you violated them on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Therefore, it is only right that you apologize to me and promise that you will never violate my boundaries again. I swear, it's like your only source of vocabulary is the chapter on trauma of a psychology textbook written by a teacher's aide. How can you possibly be playing the victim right now? Because I am the victim. Wow. You know, Kendra, when you first texted me, I thought you were a complete psycho. But now, I don't think I went far enough. You are far worse than just a run-of-the-mill psycho. You need to be locked up in an institution. That is more than enough ableist language out of you, Stacy. There is no room in my life or Stan's life for such a bigoted person as you are. I am marrying your brother today, and you will never see him again.
I wouldn't be so sure of that if I were you.
Huh?
Kendra, do you honestly believe that you haven't done anything wrong? I've taken the liberty of reading the conversation that you and Stacy just had. And to be quite honest, that really is how you feel. Then I'm not so sure I can do this anymore. I'm sorry, Kendra, but this wedding is canceled.
What? Wait a minute. Stacy? Or... oh no. Stan, is that you?
Looks like you finally caught on. Didn't you notice that he disappeared from the wedding chapel the moment that Stacy got taken away in the ambulance? That's because I went to the hospital with her. The wedding is canceled and our relationship is over. I'm breaking up with you. So no, you will not be marrying me today, or any other day.
Stan, no, you can't do this to me. You said you were gonna marry me. You said you didn't want me to have to worry about losing you anymore. You said that I was the most important person in the world to you. So how could you cancel our wedding and break up with me? Was that all just a lie?
No, Kendra, I meant every single word I ever said to you. I proposed to you because I loved you. I accepted your past, your jealousy, your controlling nature, all of that. Because I thought I could help you heal the damage that your past has done to you. I thought if I could show you that you didn't need to worry about losing me, that you could overcome your trauma and start looking towards the future rather than the past. I believed that right up until this very morning. Not only have my dedicated displays of love to you not helped heal your trauma, it almost feels like you've gotten worse. Kendra, you assaulted my sister. You hit her in the back of the head with a vase.
But I thought she was your mistress. What did you expect me to do?
That's it right there. That's exactly my point. You trust me so little that you immediately assumed that I was cheating on you. I can't marry anyone who doesn't trust me.
Stan!
I've done everything you ever asked me to do, Kendra. I erased all my female friends from college from my phone for you. I never went to any party or gathering where other women were present. I loved you and wanted to spend my life with you, so I was willing to make sacrifices for you. And after all of that, you go and assault my sister?
But Stan, it was all a simple misunderstanding. I didn't mean to hit your sister.
So you admit that you generally thought I was cheating on you?
Yeah, but just for a second.
Even 1 second is too long, don't you get that? You have no idea how much it hurts to know that the woman I pledged my love to doesn't even trust me.
That's not true. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just that, oh, you're such an amazing guy. You're handsome, funny, hardworking. I always felt that you were out of my league. I was terrified of losing you.
And so you bashed my sister over the head with a vase? I don't know how I can make this any clearer to you, Kendra. You've gone too far. Your trauma has completely taken over you. So much so that you were willing to assault a person you didn't know within a few seconds of seeing them for the first time. I had no idea you were such a violent person.
I'm not a violent person. That's not fair. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. Don't talk about me like I'm always going around and hitting random people wherever I go.
First time? Huh, that's a lie. You're not just controlling and violent, you're a liar too.
What are you talking about? I'm not lying.
When I got to the hospital with Stacy, I just so happened to see a friend of mine who I invited to the wedding. He told me he was walking downtown this morning when all of a sudden, someone came up from behind him and pushed him down the stairs. That was you, wasn't it?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Why would I do a thing like that?
He also told me that he had been receiving a ton of texts from you lately, multiple times a day, telling him to stay away from me. But right after he got taken to the hospital, the text stopped. He was so terrified that he hadn't even spoken to the police about it yet. He thought for sure you would either go after him again or take it out on me.
I can explain.
Don't bother. I don't want to hear it. Just like with Stacy, you're lucky that he wasn't seriously hurt, and that it doesn't appear that there'll be any lasting impacts to his health. Are you going to stand there and say you did all that for me? Even if that's true, I don't want any part of your psychosis. I mean it, Kendra, we're through.
Stan, please, can't we talk about this?
The only thing we're going to talk about from here on out is how you're going to be held responsible for what you did to Stacy and my friend.
What do you mean? What are you gonna do to me?
I'm going to make you pay. Simple as that. You've only ever been on my good side up until now, so you may not realize this. But while I pride myself in being generous and forgiving to my family and friends, I show absolutely no mercy to anyone else who crosses me.
Stan, do not do this. I'll apologize for everything, okay? I'll go to Stacy and your friend's hospital rooms and I'll tell them I'm sorry. So please, don't break up with me. I'm sorry I let my trauma get the best of me. If you could just work with me a little longer, I'm sure I'll overcome it in no time.
Again with the trauma nonsense. Are you ever going to give that up? Anyway, I've already compromised more than I should here for your sake. I'm not doing it anymore. You can sort out your trauma issues on your own now.
Stacy, what am I gonna do? Stan says he's gonna break up with me. He hasn't been back to our apartment since yesterday, and he just sent his lawyer over with a demand that I move out within 24 hours. I don't want to break up with him. I don't want to move out. Please, Stacy, you have to help me. In case you've forgotten, I am currently in a hospital bed recovering from the injuries that I sustained when you assaulted me. I had to get 3 stitches in the back of my head, which may not seem like a lot, but they are really, really uncomfortable. That's in addition to the splitting headache I still have, So if you want help moving out, you're gonna have to ask someone else. That's not what I meant. I want you to talk to Stan and tell him not to break up with me. I love Stan. I need him. Well, he doesn't love or need you, so I don't know what you want me to do about it. You put 2 people in the hospital on the day of your wedding. Do you really think Stan would stay with you after that? And that's not even considering the fact that you've been cheating on him. What? He told you about that? He sure did. After you assaulted us yesterday, he went to find all the evidence he could of your harassment campaigns towards me and his friends. He found all the evidence he needed of that, but also a few other pieces of evidence. It seems like every time I think my opinion of you couldn't possibly get any lower, you go and prove me wrong. Stop victim-shaming me! It's not my fault I had to cheat on him. Oh, for the love of God, Kendra, don't tell me this is because of your trauma, too. He never respected any of my boundaries. I told him not to see his friends anymore, and he told me that he was fine with that, but then what did I find out? He was still seeing them in secret at least once a month. He crushed my heart and ripped open the wounds left by that boy in high school. I lost control. I felt so violated and abused, I had no choice but to cause him some of the same trauma that he caused me. So every time he went out with me and his friends, I went out with another man. He did this to me. It's all his fault. That boy didn't cause you any trauma, Kendra. What you're actually feeling is shame. Stop victim-shaming me! He was the victim, you idiot, not you! All he did was talk to his cousin, and you ruined his reputation because of it. Then, when you realized the truth, you were overcome with shame over the viciously evil thing you did to him. That's why you invented your trauma narrative. To shut out your feelings of shame over realizing that you're just an impulsive, jealous, vindictive, and stupid woman. No, you're wrong. It was his fault for not telling me that my best friend was his cousin. Just like it's Stan's fault for not telling me you were his sister. It was Stan's friend's fault for not respecting the boundaries I set for him. That's another thing. You don't just get to use the word boundaries to make other people do whatever you want. Look, I understand that maybe I went a teensy bit overboard, but it's all because I love Stan so much. I don't want to lose him. So please, I am begging you, give me another chance. We can call your family and Stan's friends together and have a discussion on what new boundaries we can set for you guys. Boundaries that we all agree on. You still don't feel like you've done anything wrong, do you? I realize that some people who are less understanding of the trauma I've been through may view my actions as inappropriate. Yes. Yeah, that settles it. You don't think you've done anything wrong. You go through all these mental gymnastics to interpret what happens in a way that removes any responsibility from yourself. Well, I'd say it's high time someone forced you to take some responsibility. And it looks like that responsibility falls to me. You may not think that you've done anything wrong, but I'd bet a year's worth of my salary that a judge and jury will have a different view of things. What are you saying? Are you gonna sue me? Did Stan ever tell you what it was I do for a living? No. I'm a lawyer. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Do you have any idea how much money I'm losing every day I'm stuck here in this godforsaken hospital? You're going to compensate me for my lost wages and much, much more. I've also decided to take up Stan's friend's case against you as well, pro bono. Please don't do that, Stacy. I'm already on the hook for a ton of money from the canceled wedding. If you sue me on top of that, I'll be ruined. Yeah? And how is that my problem? You don't seem to be aware of what sort of position you're in right now. You have successfully driven away the only person in this entire world who would have had pity on you, so don't expect any from me. We'll talk more once I'm out of the hospital. I suggest you start figuring out how to come up with a lot of money very soon. The first thing I did after getting out of the hospital was putting together a police report for both myself and Stan's friend. She was granted a speedy trial and found guilty on all counts. My next order of business was suing her for the costs of the wedding, hospital bills, and lost wages, which added up to around $50,000 in total. She went to her parents and begged them for help, so they agreed to loan her what she needed. Paying that back, however, is not going to be easy for a woman with a criminal record like her. I hope she takes this opportunity to learn that her trauma card isn't going to get her very far in this world.